Good morning to the Monday morning inspiration for the joy of creation and the magic of art, creativity, and play. Woohoo! Welcome everybody. So today, I quickly changed everything, and I'm so grateful that Mariana was willing to say, yes, I'm gonna jump on Monday. So things are changing, and what if we have ease with change and the joy of change? So welcome everybody. So today's theme is a different area in the realm of creation, and for me, it is all connected. It is all one. So some of you might know that for myself, I have a background of 11 years in the financial world. And so I thought, wow, how amazing could it actually be for us to talk about investing, to talk about money, to talk about creation in that field that for so many of us is an area where we make it very serious. We make it very often we also give away our power to other people. I saw that a lot in the banking industry, where people just say, oh, let's do this one strategy, that's for me. And then they never really were willing to also look for themselves what actually would work for them. Now, what does this create when we don't look? So there might be a lot of where we think we don't have power, or where it's like such an enigmatic world. Where do we even start to look? And what I found out is, and I love what I'm going to introduce Mariana shortly. I love what Mariana is talking about. She is talking a lot about the joy of investing, the joy, and also finding out what works for you. When we start looking into what would actually work for me, what do I actually see for the future? Where would I like to play with my money, and also to place my money so it will create the future that I would like to see on the earth, that it would create the living I would like to have? And so Mariana is an amazing being. She is calling herself also the trading mama, and that is also her website. So Mariana started very early she actually always had this love for technology. And so she was really young, 12 years old, when she opened her first Hotmail email account, and also created her first website at 12. And then in middle school, she started and created the first computer club, and she was teaching girls to code. She taught herself HTML, which is like, whoa. Mariana, and then you went on and finding your appreciation, and also like a passion and great inspiration in the world of cryptocurrency. So I would love to talk about anything, and also anything in that area. So for all of you who are listening now, please ask questions. Now, the cryptocurrency is like, it started in 2009 with Bitcoin when it was created. And now you might have read about it. There's so much, how can I say, there are contradictory articles out. People say, oh, it's great. Other people say it's horrible. Don't do it. Don't go there. And meanwhile, there are like more than 1,400 cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, and they have went like crazy. And some people say, wow, this is a bubble and it's not safe. Yet from looking back at things, what is actually safe? And so what if we actually cultivate a how can I say, an understanding of it? What do you all know about it, and what do you not know about cryptocurrencies, this digital money, digital currency? Meanwhile, by the way, you can pay on Amazon with Bitcoin. So is this really something that we should ignore? Mariana, you know a lot about it. So I open the field for you, and let's go from here.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Bettina. That was wonderful. Yeah. So, I've been in tech. My whole family is in tech and engineering. So that's really my background. And I worked, professionally in tech all the way from, big Fortune 500 and 100 companies to startups in San Francisco. So I've kind of ran the gamut and in varied roles. So I've been a developer myself out of college, and then I moved into more of a project manager role. Then I was a business analyst, which is kind of like a product manager these days. I've done product marketing. So it's really, what I have loved is being able to be almost every role in that software development life cycle. And so I really have a very good understanding of what it takes to create software. So that's where my passion for cryptocurrency began. Now, I heard about it in 2013. And like everyone else, I thought it was a fraud. And, how can this be? It's the money based on who knows what. This is crazy. So I ignored it. And it wasn't until 2016 that I came across this YouTube by Andreas Antonopoulos, who is one of the leading minds in the space. And not just, he not only talks about the coins and Bitcoin and that stuff, but he really has a vision for the future and why this technology is here now and why it was even created in the first place. So it was created, as a response to the 2008 financial crisis. And it's not the first time we've had digital currency, but it is the first time that it's decentralized, and it's the first time that it's taken off as it has. Really, it was just, even before 2008, it was always kind of in the water for years about, hey, the system that we have now is not necessarily working. We put all our trust in the government, and so that's like a centralized place that we put our trust. And, kind of like, what else is possible? So that's really how it all started. And what I love about the crypto movement is that it became a group of people, like, say, all of us joined for a cause, and we just start contributing freely. So a lot of these guys and gals at the beginning, they weren't getting paid at all. It was a passion project to see what else is possible with this technology. And so once I really understood the value of not only cryptocurrencies, but the underlying technology, which is the blockchain, and it's actually very different. Cryptocurrency and the blockchain are two different things. So the blockchain powers cryptocurrency, but the blockchain can power many other use cases. And that's why it's blown up as it has today. So once I really understood what this technology was about and the values of openness, transparency, privacy, decentralization, right? So centralization means all the powers in one place. So if that should fall or falter or get hacked, then, all of our accounts go with it, as we've seen. I get notices all the time, like, your account was, there's been a hack and your information was compromised. So how does it get better than that?
How does it?
Yay. So decentralization was just the concept of, what if power wasn't in one place? What if it was actually replicated in many places, called nodes? So there's no one place to bring it down, basically. So that's the concept of the blockchain. I said, wow, this is really, in terms of a technological innovation, this totally makes sense for where we are in terms of technology. So that's really what got me started. And then, how I fell in love with it was really seeing the community behind cryptocurrency. So I discovered this blogging platform called steemit.com, where you actually, you can blog and you can get paid in Steemit coins to blog. And I thought, well, that's cool. So I just signed up for it just to see what it was about. And I really discovered this whole world of really passionate, helpful, open people that believe in this technology and are moving it forward. So at the ground layer, I would say beneath the hype, beyond the hype, because there is much hype. And yes, now there are scams and it's everything, right? Because in a money where there's such, in a space where there's such money to be made, of course, scams are attracted, but also a lot of good is there. So that's really why I fell in love with it, is really, it's just a community of people who really have an idea and they believe it's changing the world, and it's as simple as that, and they're working on it. And so that's where we are today. And
I love it. I love what you are saying, because, in a way, money is pretty much, when people say this is not safe, or, what is really safe about money? If we just look at the US dollar used to be backed up by gold. And what that meant is, for every bill of $1, you had the right to get a fifth of an ounce of gold. So when we look at the value of gold today, this would have meant, like, for every $1 bill, you get about like 250 US dollars, 250 worth an ounce of gold, right? So that was all changed. And so, is money actually safe? And also, a lot of people talk about cryptocurrency being a digital money and how unsafe that is. But if we look at the amount of US dollar in circulation, most of the US dollar is digital. It is not all printed. Like, I read an article where if the Fed was about to print all the dollar bills for the amount of US dollar that is in circulation, it would take about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
So most of the money is digital, meaning you see it on your bank account, but you don't hold it in your hand. Now, that is all just what I love is, what if we actually use the internet also? Like, when I was in banking, knowledge about financial markets was pretty much centralized, right? The banks knew it all. And did they actually really? Now there's so much information available online, and see people blog. And what I love also, Mariana, is what you say. What are we actually creating on the planet? And we all pretty much know that things have to change. So what can we create? Is it really also okay that a few people determine the amount of currency? And there's a lot of the Federal Reserve, and so you can read a lot of articles. And what if we actually find out what it is all about, and we educate ourselves, and instead of pushing something totally away where we don't look, what if we actually start looking, and we start to find out what would work for us, and what can we create? And what I love about you, Mariana, is your curiosity, and there is a lightness. What if we are curious? And behind me, the painting is the joy of creation, and it has a lot of the greens and deep colors, and the joy of creation. What if that also has the joy of creating our financial wealth, and the joy of creating with money, the joy of investing? And what I love is a quote that I read on your website. You are the best investment and investing plan for you is you. Right? So
absolutely.
Can you say more about that? And also, how does this come into play with cryptocurrency?
Yeah, well, it's what you touched upon is it's being empowered. A lot of us, financial literacy is not something that was taught to us. Certainly was not to me. I taught myself, and I actually began by reading Warren Buffett's biography, Snowball. I believe it's called Snowball, and it's like it's like this thick, and it was like, wow, this guy, I mean, I think he bought his first shares when he was 11 years old, something like that. And it's just, he really taught himself how to invest and how to do business. So it was really that started my education. And I say financial literacy is like anything else. It's like learning how to golf. I mean, it's just another subject. It doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. There's a lot of information, but you just need to start. So it's like, that's where I say that's part of the best investment strategy is you, because you have the knowledge, and knowledge is the power. Even if someone manages your portfolio for you, it's really good to have information so you can say, hey, what are you investing in? Well, what's the return? What are the management fees? Like everything, right? So you can be
Right.
empowered to make those decisions, and in a way that works for you. So, and then with cryptocurrency, when I actually began so I invest and I trade. So invest more for the long term, and then trading more for the short term. So when I started learning how to do those things, I thought there was only one way, or a couple of ways that were the right ways. And I spent a lot of years trying to find the right formula to make $1 million, right? Like just tell me what to do and how to do it. And, how do I make that big money? And what I've found along the way is there is no right way. Like there is no right way. There's traders who have 8 screens and, have every technical indicator you've ever seen, and it looks super fancy and complicated. And you think, oh my God, I need to be that to make money. And that's not true. That's not true. So that's where I really found out, wow, it's actually whatever works for me. Down to the practicals, like whatever technical indicators work for me, whatever time frame works for me, whatever market works for me. I tried to trade the foreign exchange market, and it was just not interesting to me at all. And so then now I switched to cryptocurrency. When I found that, it was like an immediate love because of my background. So it's like, that works for me. And then there was a time when I wanted to be a day trader, and that didn't work for me. So then I found, actually, I'm more of a swing trader, which means I trade in the long term, maybe hold a position for 1 week to 4 weeks or 5 weeks, that kind of thing. So it's really what works for you. And I'm really not convinced that, there's a lot of kind of programs and things that say, do this, trade penny stocks and you'll be a millionaire or whatever. And I just don't think that's the case. It's just, it really comes down to what is it that you desire to create and what works for you in creating it.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. So what would you say to people who wonder about cryptocurrency? Where do they even start to look? What questions can they ask?
Absolutely. And there's, crypto is a universe. What I will say is, I've heard a lot of people, since I'm in the crypto space, a lot of people have approached me and say, I'm in crypto too. And then they try to invite me to do this kind of network marketing thing. So I will say that is not representative of cryptocurrency. So if, it is a way, and some people make money that way, but like one of the biggest kind of multi-level marketing crypto companies was called BitConnect, and it was trading at $420 per coin just 3 weeks ago, and about a week ago it completely crashed. So now it's trading at $11 a coin, because these MLM kind of structures are a bit tricky. I'm not into them myself, so I will say, I just want to put that out there because there's a lot of that out there. But where I would start is, starting on YouTube, starting Googling Andreas Antonopoulos, like watch his videos, understand the technology. And then there's a very good website, I believe it's Bitcoin, bitcoin.org has a lot of good information, as well as Cointelegraph.com has a lot of good information, but bitcoin.org is a good way. It actually explains like what the technology is, how it works, what Bitcoin is, goes over some of the top coins. So just really start getting familiar, and use your awareness. That is key in this space. If something feels fishy, I would ask some questions and follow that. Now, I will say at first, when I first heard of Bitcoin, I thought it was a scam. The concept of cryptocurrency and digital currency can be a little bit affronting because it challenges our values, our beliefs about what money is and how it's made and how we use it. And so that's why I first thought it was a scam, because it's like, how could this be? It turned my whole world upside down, because I'm used to just having this dollar by the bank that I never even think about. I just go out and buy some bread, right? And it's like, whatever.
Like most of us, like we are so used to the currencies and having money and being able to have money in our hand, which might also be challenged by governments. It is coming already where we cannot just have any amount of money and get to the ATM and pull out any amount of money. So things are changing with our, whatever currencies are. Changes everywhere. So, and the Bitcoin, although, it's so funny, the coin doesn't exist. There's no physical coin, although you always see everywhere the picture of a Bitcoin with a B or whatever. And some people think there is really a coin, like something that you can touch, but it's not, it's digital. And it's interesting what you said, Mariana. Before the euro was actually introduced as a currency that you can touch, it existed as the European currency unit. It existed digitally for trade, for international trade. And so then it was introduced as a physical currency. And that the upheaval, like just the change of that, like how much do we make currencies so significant or meaningful or meaningless? So it's all, what if everything is actually relative? Like look at hyperinflation, where money all of a sudden, like the Deutschmark had no value anymore. So we have seen so many changes. So what if we are always aware, because things with even the US dollar might change in the coming future. And what is really funny is, while I was in the investment world, it was always like bonds are safe and equities are more volatile. It's more for the speculator a little bit, but bonds are safe. But if we look today at the bond market, it's like maybe not, or like Swiss Air went bankrupt, where everybody thought, oh, that's one of the best companies to invest in, right? So what if everything really is subject to change? And so when we use, and what you say, when you say use your awareness, Mariana, you said when things are funky, when you are like so what can, like when people look at Bitcoin and they get like this funky, what can they do? You say ask more questions. What could a good question be, other than calling Mariana or emailing me?
I would say that's a good, thank you, Bettina. Okay, so here's an example of something fishy. Fishy to me means I don't understand it. And if I don't understand it, how it works, I'm like, so for example, when I started getting into Bitcoin in the earlier days, somebody came to me and offered me for me to buy into something where it's like, I buy Bitcoin, and then with Bitcoin, so I take my US dollars, I buy Bitcoin. With the Bitcoin, I buy this other coin. And then I get paid interest in that other coin, and then it's held for like 4 years, and then but then it's like, how do I get, it wasn't clear how I get my Bitcoin back, and it actually wasn't clear how I get my US dollar back. And I asked a lot of people, like, well, how does this work? You know, like, I don't understand. How are you earning interest? How are you earning interest on what? Who's paying the interest? You know? So it's like really getting curious, like asking those questions, like very, almost like as if you were a doctor, as if you were like really kind of dissecting this thing. And I would say for me, confidence is when I understand it. If I don't understand it, or if it's like almost like too good to be true, then I Google it. You know, I'll Google the company name. I'll put company name review. And there's, you know, in this space, there's a lot of forums. So there's reddit.com, reddit.com. There's bitcointalk.org. So there's a lot of people. So I'm sure you'll find people already talking about it and reviewing it. So I would say, yeah, really if you don't understand it, if you can't explain it to yourself, like, I don't get it, you know, then it's a cause for, okay, is it just because I don't understand it, or what? Because I will say with crypto, the blockchain can take a little bit of time to understand, but there's plenty of documentation backing it up how it actually works. Like, you can get into the mechanics. Actually with Bitcoin, with all these coins, you can actually go see the code that creates it. So it's like, that's what I like. It's like, there's the code. I like it. I feel good. I feel warm, you know, but if there's like air here, I'm like, oh. So, and that's how a lot of scams are running around in the cryptocurrency space. And really, I would say it gets the people that have like want to make money like fast. So if you're like, I just want to make $1 million, I just want to get into this, you know, crypto space and woo, you know, that's what it kind of gets.
Right. There is there is like a lot of emotional stuff going on. Also, what I found when in the investment world, like I had all these screens in front of me, and if some market went down and I picked up, being online, I picked up on everybody else's thing. It was like the emotional. Today I have tools where I can just like really like undo all the emotions that I might be aware of and that start creeping in. What if we never had emotions and this up and down, the frenziness of the herd, where one horse starts running and everybody is like, whoa, jumping off of the cliff. What? And I make this a little bit intense, but see, what if we never get involved in emotions, but we really just, what I like doing, for instance, is I back off and I breathe. I might go outside and it's like, hey, what's really going on here? So but still never stopping to look at things, but get the emotions cleared out of the way.
Yeah, that's a good note, Bettina, because the emotions and the not having the information, so not really looking at something. So there's a term in trading and investing. It's called weak hands. So weak hands means, I'll give you an example. Like you know,
sweaty.
Because when you don't understand something,
the cup falls down, my tea spills all over.
Absolutely. And that's so just to give you an example, Bitcoin went up from, you know, in November, it was about, 66,000. And then it went up to a high of about 20,000 up in mid-December. And now it's hovering around 11,000. So there was, we're in a bit of a downtrend. And what happens is, what made it go to 20,000 is all this hype, right? Like people are hearing about Bitcoin. I want to get some, not understanding necessarily how it works or why it works or anything like that. They go buy it, thinking it's going to go to 50,000 now. Well, then the market has a correction. So when something goes up so fast, so quickly, it's unsustainable. It's like a sprinter running. It's like you have to catch your breath. And that's perfectly normal in the market. So it went up really high and it just needs to take a break. That's how the markets go, right? They go like this. They don't go wee. So So when the market started correcting quite naturally, because there's no more buyers, they're like, all right, we're kind of chilling around here. The weak hands happens when it's like, oh my God, I don't understand this Bitcoin thing. I just bought it to make money and now it's losing. Oh my God, I'm losing my money. I'm selling this thing. So that's called weak hands. But if you actually understand, number one, how the markets work, number two, what you're actually investing in, then you actually see this as an opportunity to buy, perhaps. You know, as long as the fundamentals are right and nothing, you know, catastrophic has happened, like, you know, that's a whole different thing. But this is like, yeah, being informed. This is how the smart money buys, right? So when they see the dip, they're like, buy, you know, that's how it works. And the weak hands, the ones that are not informed or overly emotional, sell and panic every time it kind of dips like that. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And yeah, also one thing is to like, I read one of your blog articles on your website. The articles are really beautiful that you are writing. I love them. And I highly recommend you guys also to go to tradingmama.com and find out about Mariana and read on her blog. Yeah, so not to invest necessarily money that you really need. This is something that you can read in all the investment books, you know, that's something like, start with what you are comfortable with and play, and also like use curiosity and playfulness, not like undo the emotions, and maybe also look at like, yeah, where can I find the information that I need? What would work for me? I just want to ask, is there anybody here who has questions? Unmute, do you know mute, unmute? So please feel free to ask questions, like about anything about, don't be shy, like cryptocurrency is, I know a lot about investing, and still cryptocurrency is for me something where it's like, whoa. I also, Mariana, in the beginning, I was like, no way that I'm gonna do this at all. This is crazy. I put my money into some codes, you know, and this is really strange. And then also we're you know, like we are used to having physical money. This is not a physical money. How is this even going to work? How do I get money? How do I like transfer money? It's totally different. It is a different universe. Yet when we look back, like, I don't know, when telephone was invented, people were saying it's the devil, telephone, right?
Yeah, it's affronting, you know.
Yes, we cannot, like, you cannot do this. And taking pictures with a camera, that's also diabolic, you know. And then when the internet came, it's like, no way that like internet is bad. And some people to this day say internet is bad because of the possibility of abuse. Yet can we really not look? So like with cryptocurrency, and also the possibility where it can create, with the blockchain technology, it can actually create amazing possibilities that have less chance for the abuse of like contracts, or there's really a lot that we could talk about. So if anybody here has questions, please feel free, ask. Oh, there's a chat. Oh my God, maybe I should look in the chat. Specific question is, what exchanges do you like the best? Is what Joelle is asking. What exchanges, Mariana, do you like?
That's a great question, Joel. I will say, I have ones that I use. I'm not married to anybody because anybody can go down at any moment. So I'm only married to myself. And my wallet, my hard wallet, which I'll show you. So I traded a lot on Poloniex.com. And really what you should look for are the exchanges that have the most volume. And you can check that on coinmarketcap.com. So if you go to coinmarketcap.com and you say, I want to buy Ethereum, for example, you just click on the coin name. So you click on Ethereum, and then scroll down a little bit, there's a tab that says markets, and that will tell you the leading exchanges for Ethereum. So right now it's OKEX, number 2 is Upbit, number 3 is Bitum. And you want to look for your pair, because you don't want to get stuck in an exchange that's not very liquid, or you could get stuck in your trade, which has happened to me before. So if you're only trading on an exchange that, you know, is trading very low volume, you can get stuck with your money there. So you want something that's very liquid. So Poloniex used to be pretty up there. Now it's not so much. There's another one, Petrex.com. That's another one I use. And now there's a new one on the block that's super hypey called Binance.com. So, you know, and then of course, you know, Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. And then, you know, I use this, the Ledger Nano S, you can see that is a wallet. Yeah. So, so if you're kind of in it for the long term and you just want to let some of your money chill, then you can move it to your cold storage, your hard wallet. So it's offline. So yeah, they always say, you know, don't leave your money on the exchanges, and use your awareness. Little bit of an energetic tip. I always ask my money to stay safe. Always. And I always ask it if it's not going to be safe. Like I'll get pings like, ooh, I should look into this. I should look into my money on Binance or something. So, but yeah. And the exchanges, they change very quickly as to who has the most volume, because they're all trying to be number one. So like Binance for me, I was like, oh, I'm just trading on Poloniex and Bittrex. And all of a sudden it's like Binance, but like what? Everybody's trading on the Binance thing. So now I'm on Binance. So it's like, it comes up, you know, pretty quickly. But yeah.
So another question is what's the best tutorial for setting up a ledger that you've found?
You know, I just YouTubed it. Well, okay. So number one, I started with the directions on the website, and it was pretty straightforward. Okay. And yeah, I actually had to go through a lot of their articles on their support on Ledger site. And then there were a couple of things where it's, okay, so one thing, when I first started setting up my wallet, I didn't realize that, you know, you can store Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, kind of the majors, but then it's like, say you're trading Golem, for example, which is one of the coins that I have. And it's like, well, how do I store Golem on the hard wallet or on the soft wallet? Well, a lot of the cryptocurrencies right now they're ERC20 tokens, which means they're based off of Ethereum technology. So they're compatible. Like even if it doesn't have like Golem on here, you can still store ERC20 tokens. So that was when I first set it up. I was like, that was really confusing to me. I was like, how do I store my other coins aside? Right. So yeah. And then there's a Ledger Nano S. Then there's also Trezor, which is another hard wallet, and it's just personal preference.
Do you have a favorite soft wallet? I guess it's called an online wallet.
You know, I haven't used any online wallet because I don't know. I'm kind of a lot of them get hacked, so I haven't. I just take it to the hard wallet, but. And now, you know, Coinbase has a vault now you can set up, which is supposed to be cold storage. And it just requires a second email address. So you might want to look into that. I think the setup is pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Wow. This is exciting. So what do you offer for people, Mariana? I heard you say you just started a 6-month school, and you also on your website I saw you have different other possibilities. So if people really wanted to dive in and find out more, what do you offer for them?
Well, yeah, so like you mentioned, I have the 6-month school. I did a 3-part class in October, and it was chock full. And in fact, it was so full, it's like we ran out of, you know, time. So it was really the introduction, setting up your wallet, what is this technology, and going through the exchanges. But the school is very much focused on building an actual investment portfolio in these coins, making sure your portfolio is diversified, teaching you how to do the fundamental analysis, and then also how to actually trade this. So how to actually do some swing trading so that you can make some money in the short term. So that's the focus for the school. It's every Sunday, it's live. We just had our first class yesterday for a couple hours, and we have weekly homework. I mean, it's full on. It's the class I wish I had when I, first started. I kind of pieced everything together when I first started. So I wish I would have been kind of handheld and had homework, and that's how I enjoy learning. So there's that. And then, most recently, I do a lot of research of the coins, but also different, just really cool crypto projects like steemit.com, earn.com, just places where you can have fun with crypto, earn some money. So I've recently been asked to put a newsletter together, like, like those investors newsletters you can sign up for. So I think I'll be starting that hopefully sometime soon. So that'll be, yeah. And then I'm hoping to start a podcast too. So there, and I have a mailing list if you want to get on that, where I, kind of share my trading and investing insights and fun projects I'm finding. So yeah, lots of ways, I guess.
Cool. That's amazing. So your website is tradingmama.com, and
Yep.
People can find you there. They can contact you. They can also have personal sessions with you. I also saw that there's a possibility of having purchasing modules. I saw that, so they can inquire with you about that, correct?
Yeah, so if you just maybe are interested in how to create a portfolio, I have a template. We will talk about the diversification and all that stuff. So if you just want kind of a la carte, or maybe just want to get more familiar with the charts and how to do that, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
That's amazing. And yeah, the world is changing with blockchain. And so there's a lot where even in art, where there's like the cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is also spreading into the artistic realm, into the musical realm, where tokens are being created. So it is really something that is just going on. And what if we don't close our eyes? What if we don't look away? What if we don't allow actually also that area to contribute to us and to our lives, to our future, and enjoy it? Like, hey, what would it create for you if you had a beautiful cryptocurrency wallet, and then you could buy on Amazon or anywhere? There are several other websites where you actually can now use cryptocurrency to purchase things. So how does it get any better? And how much fun can we have? So are there any other questions?
Yeah, I saw Joel had go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, so do you have a top 5 or a top 10 list that you care to share, and why? Maybe just some reasons why these different, they all do so many different things.
Yeah.
And so why, based on where the world is at now, some will more likely succeed than others?
Well, I have a few favorites. Of course, I have to mention Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is still, like, I believe, the most secure cryptocurrency. It's still leading in that regard. The transaction times are pretty slow, and it's expensive, so that's why it's not, can't go buy a cup of coffee with it yet. And it is becoming the new gold standard. So people are actually starting to put that as put their money into it as a store of wealth. So I believe that's going to continue to grow. It is a first mover, has that advantage. So people, when they hear cryptocurrency, they equate it with Bitcoin. And there's still a good team of developers that are strong, that are continuing to move the roadmap, that have great ideas. So it's not a project that's been abandoned by any means. So Bitcoin is still, we shouldn't ignore the big guys, even though there's, still a million of exciting other coins as well. Ethereum, again, I believe it's still undervalued. I love Vitalik Buterin, who's the founder of, he created Ethereum. He created it when he was 19 years old. So he has a mission to, the whole point of why he created Ethereum was he really wanted to change the world. And he said, hey, I want to help, folks that are in regions that are underbanked and things like that. So he was a little bit disappointed as to how Ethereum's been used so far, which has been used for the initial coin offerings, which, in a lot of cases it's just been made to make a lot of money for these companies. So he was threatening to leave the project. So all these projects, they're run by core contributors, these developers. So one of the major developers leaves, it's kind of a bummer, and it could really jeopardize the direction of the project. So, but he's doubled down his efforts. He said he's going to commit to making the transactions better, throughput better. And, Ethereum has the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So they're really partnering with a lot of enterprise companies to explore the blockchain. So I think it's still a good bet. And Bitcoin and Ethereum are the entry points to trade other coins. So it's, you need them anyway to get into the space. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, there's a bit of a controversy with Ripple. I would still recommend it simply because, so Ripple is a network. There's the Ripple network, and then there's a Ripple token. So the Ripple network was created as a way to, so right now banks, like say a United States bank sends a payment to a South African bank, they have these like sort of deposits that they do to each other, and they need to convert currency in between there. So the process is expensive, it's lengthy, there's some contracts involved. So Ripple says, why don't you get on a Ripple network, use the Ripple token, no currency conversion, it's super fast, it's lightning quick, it's cheaper. So a lot of banks have actually signed up with Ripple and are using it, and that's what's moving it forward. So right now Ripple is at $1.34. I mean, I think that's super cheap. Some people say that, Ripple is not a true cryptocurrency because it's not decentralized. Actually, the majority of Ripple is owned by the Ripple company in San Francisco. And so the owners have gotten very, very rich. So some people are like, boo, like, like I won't invest in them, but the fact of the matter is there are a lot of banks in the world, and right now they run our world, and if banks are using them, that's a huge use case. So that's what I see. So Ripple not to be ignored. One of my favorites is Golem. Let's see what number it is. I'm on coinmarketcap.com right now. Gosh, it really dropped. It's number 63 on the list in terms of market cap. But Golem, their idea was basically to rent out CPU. So for example, someone who has a very powerful laptop or a PC, like a gaming machine or something, and they don't use a computer all day long. So their idea is you hook up your computer to our network, and then, you basically rent out your CPU while you're sleeping or something. So their idea is to create a supercomputer. So imagine thousands, maybe millions of computers being connected, and then you can just rent out that power. So their use case is to, for example, to do like CGI rendering and all those like, movies, for example, that are, they take years to make because like I was just watching Moana the other day, right? So it's like all that CGI. I was watching Lord of the Rings the other day. All that stuff is all computers now. It's all green screen, and that takes years to maybe render. So their idea is that they could cut that time to, maybe months. So I really like the team. So for any coin that I'm into, I really research the team. I make sure that, number one, I understand what they're doing, and I really kind of vibe with the team. So a lot of these teams they'll like broadcast their
mission statement.
Yeah, and also their updates. Like you can actually see the development team saying like, we did this week, we found this bug, kind of behind on this, their actual team updates. So I encourage you to watch those and really kind of get to know the team. So I love the Golem guys, and that's what I really like about them. Now, they aren't moving as fast as they had hoped. So it's a little bit behind. I think that's why it's kind of dropped out of the spotlight a little bit, but I still think it's a good project to watch. Another one that's kind of popped into my awareness is Simple Token, and their little ticker is OST. I like Simple Token. It's a very technical project. They basically realized that they could use Ethereum in a much more efficient way. So right now Ethereum, it's a little bit slow, and it can't handle like a lot of load on the network. So they're like, we're gonna take Ethereum and develop what's called these side chains. So then we're using the side chains and not the main blockchain. So Simple Token's idea is that any enterprise, any company can develop their own token network. So they're creating tools for companies to develop their own token networks. And what I like about Simple Token is that the founder of Simple Token is the guy who founded fab.com. You guys remember that website years ago? You could get like furniture and things. And that company, oh my gosh, it blew up. Remember, it was huge. And then it actually blew up, like it went under. So, but
poof.
But what I like about that guy, I don't call him that guy, but it is, he's very experienced. He's very mature in the space, in the technology space. He knows how to deal with, venture capitalists and that kind of funding. He knows how to deal like with sales and developers and all those things. So he's very seasoned, and they're moving so fast on their roadmap. It's crazy. They're signing up partner companies. They're creating their wallets, all that stuff. So Simple Token I like. And then there's just so many, it's just like, just get excited, because it's like, I just want to buy this one and this one, because there's so many good projects. It's like, I would say that's the hardest part of all. It's like, I build my portfolio of maybe 5 to 10 companies, but then it's like, I just want to keep buying other stuff for fun. So yeah.
Shifting gears a little bit, how do you see the success of cryptocurrency and crowdfunding for causes and projects? And how is that working? And is it hard to do? And any comments about that?
Oh, like maybe have like a Kickstarter kind of platform, but using cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of companies trying to do that. I certainly think it's. I mean, I haven't read too much about it, to be honest, but I know the conversation is there, and they're exploring different models. So that
I think it's already happening. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
yeah.
I think there's a real live projects running.
Yeah, I think so too. I know I've read about it, but I'm not close to that kind of space. But I mean, yeah, it's.
Well, Mariana, this is amazing. You have such a wealth of knowledge, and I also love how you look into the projects, how you really look into what are the guys doing, and is this something that I would love to add to my portfolio, and is this a cryptocurrency or a token that is a match for me, and how the team is working. I love all of that. So Mariana, you mentioned the class that you did last year. So if people wanted, can they still buy the recordings of the class you did last year? Is this all available still, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the 3-part class available, and you'll get all the recordings. And
where do people find it?
I guess myself. I know I should put this out somewhere. Just my email. I'll put it in here in the chat.
What is your? And can you also say your email address?
Yeah, it's mcarillonet@gmail.com. mcarillonet@gmail.com. So I know I should really get. Yeah, okay. I should really put my stuff out there. But yeah, the classes
it's really cool. The way you put it in your words, you know, where a lot of descriptions and a lot of articles are very technical. Yet, if I love the wording, how you describe things and the background of the team, this is really amazing and such a depth and wealth of knowledge and information that you have there. It's so cool. So I don't want to keep you too much longer here. I'm so grateful that that you said yes and that you are so generously giving us information and to everyone who is gonna see this in the future. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the world is always changing, and wow. Is there a last word that you would like to say to everybody? Like, never give up, just keep looking.
Yeah, you know, I would say this stuff, it's really changing the world, and and also there is a lot of opportunity to make money in the space, like no doubt about it. So, I mean, I would suggest you look into it and don't pass it up, you know. Yeah, really take the time, and I'm not saying put your whole 401k in there, or take out, you know, a loan, you know, mortgage off your house. But, you know, if you have, you know, a couple of bucks to play with, you know, get into it, see what it creates for you, because yeah, it's really, I mean, there's a lot of people who made a lot of money in this space, and it's changing their lives too. You know, we're seeing a shift, you know, also from the 1% or only the accredited investors who could invest in this type of stuff before, to now anybody can invest in this stuff. So it's really kind of equalizing the playing field. I don't know for how long. So regulation is coming, it's here. You know, so I don't know how, but yeah, I would just look into it and have fun, and yeah. Joel, you have one more?
I just wanted to add a comment, and here's a metaphor that I kind of developed over the last week or two that seems to really sum up the crypto world in my mind, and that's, if you can imagine the United States or the New World before the European settlers came, and imagine yourself sitting in a port town someplace in Europe, and there was a boat that was going to go there, and they were looking for explorers. I think that's where the crypto thing is now. It is the new world, and we're explorers out there helping to find and create a new world.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we all came here, was to create a new and better world anyway. And this seems to be a big door that's opening. Even if it all fails, it will show us that there's other huge possibilities, and that we don't have to do things the way that they've always been done just because that's how they've been done. And I also believe that no matter what happens, no matter what kind of legislation comes down or whatever, this genie is so out of the bottle that outcreation will outcreate whatever obstacles get put in the way. So
yeah, absolutely. And you know, this is a time, I will say, the whole blockchain space is open source, meaning everything, the code is transparent. This is a time in history where you can get in there. You can go to any team right now. You could go to Golem, you could go to Ethereum and say, hey, I want to pitch in and contribute, and they'll take you. Anybody can do it. So you really have a hand in shaping history and where we're going. So yeah.
Woohoo to that.
Yeah.
Wow, Mariana, thank you.
It's pretty scary and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, scary and cool. It is. Yeah, change. You know, and what ease can we have with change?
And with ease, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I love demystifying this space. You know, it doesn't have to be scary, and it could act. There's so much fun, and there's so much heart in all these teams and communities, and yeah. So
yeah, that I really love that. That when we look behind the scenes. Like when we look behind the scene of the US dollar, what is the Federal Reserve trying to create? It's one thing, and you can also read about that. And then what are the teams behind cryptocurrency trying to create? What is it that drives them? So what can we find out? What can we read? What information can we gather? And yeah, make sure you have Mariana's email address and her website, and find out, read about her, read her articles. They are amazing. They are really well written. And I wonder how much fun you all can have with the joy of creation, with cryptocurrency or other types of investment that work for you. So
yeah,
if you all,
like finance is finally fun, you know. It's like,
yes, the fun of finances.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much, Bettina. This has been wonderful, and your wealth of knowledge of the financial world was great. You know, so thank you all. Yeah, I love talking about this stuff. This is fun, you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Mariana. And yeah, like what future is possible. And I say, have a great day, have a great rest of the week, and enjoy and play and be curious. Bye, my friends.
All
Thank you, Bettina.
Bye. Thank you, Bettina. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.